I am floored, flabbergasted, blown away, shall you say, by the reception to my last video. Wow. Number one, you guys got me over 100 subscribers to like 108 now. What? That's crazy. Thank you. I appreciate it. Did not expect that. And I'm grateful. I'm glad. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And then it's just getting a lot of views for me. That's exciting. That's fun. So once again, I thank every one of you that has ever watched a video, ever clicked on a video, even if you backed out and we're like, bye. But hey, you still clicked on my video. Even though watch time goes down, views still go up. Anyways, what are we doing today? Today we are doing my July wrap-up, going over all 10 books, I think, that I read in July. I will insert my story graph information right here with the amount of books, pages read, genres, blah, 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 blah. Story graph. The story graph is going to go right here. Anyways, yes, let's just hop right into all of the books that I read in the month of July. So we have my handy dandy iPad with all of my notes for all of the books that I read this month. And I'm so excited to go through it with you today. The first book is actually a reread for me, The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. I don't know what it was. I was just in the mood to reread this trilogy. And boy, great decision on my part. 5 out of 5 stars for this. And it was probably even better for me upon rereading this book. Wow. It was just so amazing. So if you haven't read this book yet, you totally should. Not sure what you're doing. We follow 3 different perspectives. And let me just say, it's really hard to talk about this book without spoiling it. So I will do my best. But we follow 3 different perspectives. And let's just say there's foreshadowing from the beginning. Jemisin perfectly weaves all 3 perspectives together in a way that if you pay attention while you read, you'll pick up on what is going down, okay? And she just does a splendid job. Her magic system, wow. So I haven't read, but when I read this the first time, I hadn't read too many adult fantasy or any science fiction fantasy of the adult variety. And so upon picking this up again, wow. The science-based magic system in this, I totally did not pick up on at all upon first read. And it was just really phenomenal. It was really awesome seeing how logical this system is. And it's just so good. It's so good. And it ties really well into current day social issues that are going on in the world. We have really great LGBTQIA plus representation. We have a really great polygamous relationship representation in here. Does it break your heart? Yeah, it does. Does it make you mad? Yeah, it does. Does it make you excited? Yeah, it does. This ending, it's epic. Okay, it's epic. That's all I will say. And N.K. Jemisin, thank you so much for providing us with just master works every time. I know there's a novella that she put out, and I think it's called Emergency Skin. Definitely gotta give that a read. Gotta give that a read. See if my library has it. If not, I'll pick up the ebook because she never disappoints. She always hits, shall I say. She always does it for me. So, next up on the bracket, Bitter Twins by Jen Williams. And boy, I choked. That's how excited I am to talk about this book, okay? And now I could finally just give you a little bit more juice about it. You know, I've talked about it in a couple videos already, but this book is just fucking phenomenal. If I didn't say, I gave this season a 5 out of 5 star. This, 5 out of 5 stars as well, okay? So good. It has a really great opener, okay? It opens up really great. And pretty much my heart breaks this entire book. It's full of adventure, fun, We have raised stakes. We have scenarios that have been flip-flopped, and now characters are trying to deal with their emotions and feelings and blah, blah, blah. And I don't want to talk too much about it because it is a sequel, okay? You totally should read The Ninth Reign, and then Bitter Twins, and then next month, Poison Song, and then I'm going to totally make a video spoiling all of it because I just need to talk about it. I need to speak upon these books. They are amazing. Amazing. Just the emotion that they encapsulate in this, the feelings it makes you feel for everyone in it, even the villains, even the antagonists of the story. You start to understand where they're coming from and, you know, their perspective a little more. And I just really adored this book. I really, really did. 5 out of 5 stars. Jen Williams, you did a phenomenal job once again, killing it with the Bitter Twins. Okay, I loved it. And I'm so excited for this Poison Song, or The Poison Song. I think it's The Poison Song, but yeah. And if you've read the first 2 books, that last title makes my heart ache. Ache. Twist, ache, and shit itself. All right? Then we have The Crossroads of Twilight, which I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. All right? This is a pretty decent book, I guess. From what I remember, this pretty much, I'm not even going to bother. Real-time spoilers, okay? These books are meddled. But from what I remember, this is like a convergence of perspectives of what happened, where everyone was when Rand cleansed the male half of the Source. And I found that pretty interesting. Once again, the star of the show within these couple books that I read this month, it's Tuon and Matt. All right, these books are all about Tuon and Matt, and I really enjoyed this book. The only thing, I think the whole Perrin and Fael plotline either begins or is continued in this book, and that just too many books. It lasted way too many books. It was really kind of inconsequential at the end, and that's the only plotline that I really disliked out of this entire series. But besides that, I really liked it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Probably revoked that star for the Perrin and Fael dragged out plotline. All right. But yeah, this is book 10 in the Wheel of Time series. Then this is the Percy Jackson book of the month, The Titan's Curse by Rick Riordan. Gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Pretty enjoyable. What Greek myth does it base itself off of? Not sure. I'm not sure about that. But reading it as an adult really is fun because I recognize so many more of the references to all of the Greek mythology and mythological people that they're referencing. And it's just a little bit more pleasing, shall we say. And I really enjoyed this. I mean, the plot of this, it's very like quest-based every book, and that's just what it is. Am I getting a little tired of it? Sure, that's why I'm reading one a month. But they're so much fun, they're so great. If you have literally anyone at any age who hasn't read the series, it'll be super fun. Totally should read it. All right, give this a 4 out of 5 stars. This is the 3rd book in Percy Jackson and the Olympians. And there wasn't enough Annabeth in this, obviously. If you've read this book, there just wasn't enough Annabeth in it for me. Just didn't, quench that thirst, shall we say. But you are introduced to some beloved characters like Nico D'Angelo. We all know everyone loves Nico. And I'm excited now to hop into kind of like the second Heroes of Olympus series, which I also have. And I'll also be reading before the TV show comes out, ideally. But at the rate we're going, chances of that are high. But yeah, 3rd book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, The Titan's Curse, with a 4 out of 5 stars. Sorry about that. That's my dog. The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axio. I cannot wait to speak about this book. Okay? Wow. Was it just so good? It was really great. This is a young adult fantasy novel. If you haven't gotten your hands to read this yet, I got it on my Kindle, on my Libby app. So check your local library, If they have a OneDrive sort of space to get ebooks, wow, buy it actually, because this cover is gorgeous. I don't know why I had to go on that little talk there, but I did. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars for what it is, a YA fantasy, which I haven't read in a really long time. This was so enjoyable, so delectable. I really enjoyed the way they handled grief in this book, the way we have handled religion in this book, the way we have handled love in this book. And I just really adore this book, if you can't tell. There were some points I can see in my notes that I knew things were coming. I knew they were coming, but I think it's from good foreshadowing. I think it's from good writing, good characters, not so much a weak plot line. So Axio, wow, you really nailed it on this one, and I will definitely be reading any book that you publish, that you come out with, because this was just phenomenal. Loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. Then we arrive upon New Spring, the Wheel of Time prequel. I gave this like a 3.75 out of 5 stars. I'm going to admit, didn't find this too enjoyable. Why? I hate to be a hater, but any part that Maureen was not present was not interesting to me. And yes, that includes all of Lan's point of view until he comes in contact with Maureen, okay? He was so boring before he met Maureen and got a little bit of character, okay? The classic, oh, I hate Aes Sedai. I hate Aes Sedai. Don't let them come near me, Aes Sedai. Oh, boring, but Maureen, this made me miss her beyond bounds, okay? She was already one of my favorite characters, but this made me miss her bounds and leaps and waves. And I'm so glad I read it when I did, because it's making me excited for events that I know are bound to happen later on in the series. No spoilers or anything, but you know. So I just really enjoyed Maureen's perspective and anything having to do with Maureen in this book. And that's what carried this book for me. If it was all Maureen, I probably would have given it a 5 out of 5 stars, okay? The way, the reflection, the way that she behaved when she first came to the White Tower, you know, between being accepted and having the shawl, is so much like our main characters in the first couple books. And I just really loved seeing that from Maureen, you know, how she's portrayed in those first 5 books that she's in. She is stoic. She knows what she's doing, you know, she's very powerful and she's very in control of herself. And seeing her kind of act like what the behavior that she chides our main characters for really warmed my heart, because I just miss her, and it shows that she's been there. And I could go on and on and on about how much I loved Maureen and Suan in this prequel, but I digress. This was a 3.75 on Goodreads. I think maybe I rounded it up to a 4 because Maureen is that worthy. Okay, she's that worthy. Knife of Dreams. This is the last book that was written, and I believe it was published after he passed away, but this is the last book that was written by Robert Jordan in the Wheel of Time series. Obviously, he outlined the rest of the series, which is how Brandon Sanderson finished it off. But this is the last book that he wrote. And to say that reading this book was very emotional for me is an understatement. I just really appreciate this book for everything that it is. I really love the Aes Sedai politics that you get in these books. I really love Matt and Tuon. And let's just say this is like the best book with development with Matt and Tuon. And the fact that Matt is just so intuitive and is just able to win over Tuon in the manner that he did, and the way she declared, you know, what she declared for him at the end of this book was just, oh my God, the best slow burn you could ever look for. Matt and Tuon. Matt and Tuon. I can't help it. Okay? I can't help it. I can't help but love them, adore them, and I can't wait to see how they interact in future books, let's just say, okay? But we also, in my opinion, I learned that I feel like Rand is just too OP in this book. Too overpowered. He's not quite mad yet, shall we say. I am currently reading The Gathering Storm right now, and he has officially had his first outburst at Lews Therin out loud. And that is a sign for me. Like, yes, he is starting to get angry mad. Yes. But this book, he just was a little too OP for me. A little too OP. You know? That was cured by the end of this book. Okay? But for me, the rest of it was just a little too much. But yeah, Rand is boring still. The rest of the characters are still great. It was nice seeing Faile taken out of the position that she was in, but boy, it felt like it gave no fruits. You know, it yielded no fruit. There was no harvest from this. What I am waiting for in these next 3 books is a Morghese, Elaine, Gawain, and Galad reunion. Okay? I'm really interested to see how that's going to happen. You know, if you've read these books, you know that everyone thinks Morghese is dead, but she's with Perrin and Faile. That moment is going to be one of the most satisfying moments for me in this book series, and I can't wait. I can't wait. I don't know why I find it so satisfying, but I just do. I do. Deeply in my soul. All right? So, yes, that is Knife of Dreams. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. All right? I really liked it. I really, really liked it. If it says 4 out of 5 stars in Goodreads, I'm a liar. Upon reflection, it's 5 out of 5 stars. Really loved this book. Book 11 in the Wheel of Time series. Then we have a book I have not read yet. All right? Or no, I have read. I don't own yet. All right? I'm going to because I have my Joe Abercrombie stash. But this is Joe Abercrombie's worst book in my opinion. All right? There are so many redeeming things about this book, don't get me wrong. But there are so many horrible, in my opinion, things about this book that it just was no way, in any shape or form, going to be able to be redeemed. And that is The Heroes by Joe Abercrombie. This is the second in the first Law of World trilogy. So, what I have learned from this book, A, my fantasy should have at least a little bit of magic in it, all right? The Heroes really centers around the military and the military men, the army men, the men fighting in combat, you know? And while that led to some really awesome narrative, choices that Joe Abercrombie made, all right? While it led for some really good themes and reflection on how useless and pointless war actually is, it also left for some of the most unlikable characters in his world, and there wasn't one that I could really fully get behind, and there was only one woman we were following pretty much the entire book, and I was just didn't care about what happened to these people. Probably started caring maybe 90% of the way through the book, but even then it was only because I had to read almost 600 pages worth of it. While, like I said, the plot, good. Narrative style, if you've read it, you know what I'm talking about, all right? It starts in the chapter Casualties. That, I feel can literally be an excerpt and studied in, courses for how just unique and awesome that narrative was. His characters in this. Joe. I gave it a 3.5 or a 3.75, I think, out of 5 stars. It just didn't knock my socks off. We saw a lot of Baez, but not a lot of Baez powers, because we were following the little guys, and he doesn't care about us little guys, And I need a little bit of oomph. I need a little bit of magic. I need to follow a good character. We didn't even follow Shivers. We just saw Shivers. And it's where's Pharaoh? Where's Pharaoh? That's the story that I personally want to read. No one agrees. I don't know fucking why. But that's the story I want to follow. That's the story I want to read. Instead, I'm given military. And while that is okay, it's not giving. It's not giving, and it didn't give for me. And we're going to move on. In the same day, I finished The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. This is a classic science fiction novel, and it was super, super, super enjoyable, shall we say. It was so much fun, all right? This is pretty much the premise of this book is if the Earth were to be destroyed by an intergalactic community creating an intergalactic expressway. Yeah, you heard me right, expressway. And we follow a couple characters post problem, all right? And it's so good, so inventive, the way that Douglas Adams wrote, and let's see. So he wrote this. Hello? In 1979, okay? The way he was able to write in 1979, just amazing. Amazing. Gave this like a 4 stars out of 5 stars, 4.5 out of 5 stars. Very enjoyable, short, really great introduction to science fiction. I could see why it's like studied in high schools. It was fun. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my experience. And last, we have a new author to add to authors that I don't love. Oh no. And if you tell me in the comments below that like it gets better, because I've read in reviews that people didn't realize this book was historical fiction fantasy, and I'm right there with you, because that's not for me. Like I said, I discovered in the heroes I need some sort of magic, and the magic we were getting in this was like pixie dust. And it is completely just not important in the story whatsoever, not a thread in the story whatsoever. And this book to me, just like at its core, was misogynistic, okay? At its very depth and core, even our female characters that we follow somehow center their lives and their selves around men, okay? And it just like bothered me a whole lot. It bothered me. Like, for example, I have a specific example because I was reading this and I was like, what the fuck did I just read? All right. Our main character, Jahan, all right, that we follow, she is a doctor. She has a whole inner monologue, and this is from my notes, about how men, it must be such a burden for men because they have to make a name for themselves. They're making a name for themselves. They're paving themselves a future, a career. Women, on the other hand, have to uphold their father's legacy. That's the burden women have, to uphold their father's legacy. So what does that mean? I know in this context, she was like speaking in a way of career, which still rubbed me the wrong way, but the way that this is phrased, father's legacy, like raise a family. And that just like, at the end of the day, this book was misogynistic. It felt misogynistic to me. It was pretty much a retelling of the Crusades, that fucking war, and we follow mostly like the side of the Christians, and that's boring. All right, we get some of other perspective, points of view, but a whole lot of Christian based perspective, and I just couldn't be bothered to care. Why I didn't just put this down, I don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure. I should have. I really didn't like it at all. I gave it a 3 stars. Because it was very well written wise, like prose wise. I feel like the writing was nice. And I can't even tell you. I feel like the pacing was really interesting. But like, you can tell I'm grasping for straws, trying to find something I like about this book. So maybe it's more of like a 2.5, honestly. Sorry. Sorry to all the Gay Gabrielle K fans, but it didn't do it for me. It just did not do it for me. Well, there we go. That is all of the books that I read this July. All 10 books I think I read. Overall, pretty good reading month. Did we have some misses? Yes. Did we have so many hits that I could hardly count? Thanks to Robert Jordan? Yeah. Yeah, we did. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much for being here today. Give it a like. Comment down below. What books did you read this month? Have you read any of the books I have read this month? And do you like them? Why or why not? All right? Subscribe down below. All right? You guys got me to 100. Like I said, I was at 108 when I checked last. Thank you. I, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate that shit. All right? I truly do. I am so thankful. Never thought I would be in this position, ever. And if I were to go back at like 12-year-old me, making beauty videos, you know, off my little camcorder, at my little flip-up mirror desk, I would say, maybe you shouldn't do that. You know, maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you should wait. Because it gets better. It does, I promise. All right, hope you guys are having a nice day. See you in my next video. Bye.